Welcome back to another episode of Let Me Be Frank podcast with myself, Simon Houston, Frank McAvennie, and another treat. You pulled the big guns out yet again.
One of my old teammates again.
A Centenary team legend, Peter Grant, joins us. Peter, absolutely fantastic.
Pleasure to be here, guys.
Absolutely
Cheers.
brilliant.
Coming on,
Lots and lots of brilliant stuff to talk about.
Yes.
Before we go any further, I just want to give everyone a wee reminder. Podcast is going really well. We're getting brilliant numbers. Just keep hitting the subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on all the social media channels and keep the numbers going, and we will continue to deliver top drawer guests such as this man. Peter, great, thanks for
coming in.
I can't believe I'm here. It's the first time he's invited me anywhere.
Aye. I never invited me a night suit, that's for sure.
Why was that? Too responsible, too well behaved.
Him and Paul, we had to look after Paul.
All the time. Philippe
All the
was,
time,
it
I
was
know.
Philippe.
Philippe, when Paul turned into Philippe, that was a good night finished.
Did Paul have a minder on the pitch and off the pitch, did he?
Yeah,
I thought Big Roy was more of his kind of. Did he not?
No.
Did you do that?
No, we had to watch Roy, never mind Paul. You know, Paul was brilliant. He was a completely different character. You know, that was a terrific player. Top quality player. You know that yourself. Mac, I love playing along with him, obviously. Didn't like playing along with the other midfielder he had. They love playing along with him.
I used to point that way, I used to go like that, and I had to go that way.
I got you in a few times.
I got me in a
It wasn't
few
the men.
Even the defenders were baffled.
Lots to talk about Celtic current, what's going on at the moment, and also we'll take a wee wander down memory lane, go back to 1988, and there are lots of things to discuss. Because Peter and I were discussing earlier on about how only one guy would get into the Centenary team from the current squad, the number 9 Kyogo. But the rest,
Must have been taking Andy's place anyway.
But it's a big West Ham connection with yourself, Peter, too.
Yes.
I've been
thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a fantastic time. And I must admit, they were the closest I've seen, I don't know if you agree, Frank, to Celtic supporters. I don't know if it's an East End thing. They just love their football club and travelled in big numbers. Remember, when I went in there, we were in the Championship, when Alan Pardew had taken over as manager. And then we got promoted to the Premier League and got to the FA Cup final against Liverpool and whatever. And it was a fantastic time. We got a playoff final against Crystal Palace, which was the worst game ever. We lost 1-0, but it was a terrible game. Then the following year we played Preston. We beat Preston 1-0, and we got through. And honest to goodness, we got into the Premier League, it was as if you'd ship new supporters in. It was incredible, actually. You know, that's where they thoroughly deserve to be. Upton Park was something special, and as I say, it was a really feel like Celtic Park, you know, with the supporters. But I mean, every single game was like that. Really, really passionate.
They call it a family club, don't they? That's
the people that went to Upton Park were proper supporters.
Oh, absolutely.
At the moment, there's 60,000 fans at the London Stadium, but they're not all supporters.
Yes.
There's a lot of visitors from overseas.
Do you want to start a lot when you do your kind of ambassador stuff and whatever?
Yeah, people don't know me. I know they're foreign.
No, but that's different.
What do those YouTube clips not go abroad? No.
That's one thing I can say that he's known as a legend down there, even in the period of time I was down there, without a shadow of doubt, deservedly so. But as I say, it was a fantastic football club and really, really enjoyed. And my time there, the only reason I left was because I was offered the manager's job at Norwich.
Yeah.
That was the only reason. I just signed a 5-year contract the day before, and then Norwich came in and offered us a manager's job. And Alan Pardew, to be fair to Alan, had said to us that he would only let me go as a manager somewhere with a team that was a chance of getting to the Premiership, but I would never be allowed to go as an assistant elsewhere. And they stood by their word, and they were terrific. And
was that what you always wanted to do, Peter?
Yeah, I did. I always felt, you know yourself, Peter the Pointer. But you know Peter the Pointer. I always thought I knew the game. Yeah. And I'd done my coaching since I was about 22. I'd started doing the coaching then and try to get my badges, thinking I knew everybody's job. I wasn't great at my own job, but I knew everybody's job, and I think that was my biggest strength. And people wonder, they laugh about it, Peter the Pointer. But I could tell you what the right back's job was, and I could tell you what the outside left's job was. And that's why probably the managers kept picking me all the time, because I understood. We never looked off to the bench or anything like that. You know, somebody would just shout something on the pitch or something, get to your left, get to your right.
My biggest fault with today's football, not just their teams, but today's
football. But Mac and that used to moan at me. I couldn't have played with me.
They looked to change.
Because I was shouting all the time.
They looked to the bench, but we'd 11 captains.
That's what I'm saying, we never done that. We never looked off to the bench. If you look, you were scared to look off the bench, because that meant you were getting off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at that time there was only 2 subs at that particular time. And didn't get used.
No, it didn't get used.
Some didn't even get used. Absolutely.
If we were overloaded in midfield, I'd come back. I'd come back in, leave Andy up front or something. And it basically,
Actually, you know, when you think about that, you think about that team as far as like leaders on the pitch. You two, Mick McCarthy, Roy Aitken, Tommy Burns, Paul McStay,
Billy Stark.
Billy Stark.
Why? But great understanding of the game. You had unbelievable understanding of the game. You know, he'd worked under the best with Sir Alex Ferguson and that as well. So they all knew the game. And even in training, we didn't really know, but we were full on at training. It was really competitive. People talk about pressing and whatever. We've done that.
You taught it early doors. You've got to train the way you play. If you don't, you're not ready for the game.
I remember Mac and Andy, we just talked about them two strikers at that particular time. If they missed a chance in training, they were doing press-ups themselves. No manager would need to say to them, get down and do. You know, for shooting practice and they missed the target, they were knees to chest. Oh, it was funny, you know, but that was the pressure they put on themselves. And it was, I'm not saying the boys don't do that now, but they've done it automatically.
Well, they don't, but see when I see strikers not holding the ball, when you're under pressure and it goes up to, whether it's Kyogo or Adam, you know, hold on to it. You know, give the boys a break. But when they lose it very cheaply, nobody says a word to them.
Yeah, I know.
Can you imagine me losing it?
I think
maybe once I got away with it.
Yeah.
But if I let it go cheaply, but
you know what though? Human beings are different now. Do you know? I think there's a lot of fragility. There's a lot of fragility about young guys. You know?
But you've got to tell. Listen, it's for your own good. For the team.
Well, we very rarely, if Mackie lost the ball, similar to Celtic, and that's what I'm talking about pressing, we'd already won the ball back. Because it wasn't, hey Mackie, what are you doing? Okay, after we won it back, we'd go, hey Mackie, keep it in, whatever. But we'd already won it back. And listen, the traits of the team, they talk about Ange and Brendan and that prior, but we were always,
we'd done it.
We were under Big Billy all the years ago. We'd always be saying, Mackie, look at us, and we would just nod our head. And that was it. But the difference was, remember, the goalkeepers lifted the ball and kicked it.
I know.
It's not as if they threw it to the fullback. Very rarely did they do that at Celtic Park.
I'm looking at the match in the 2nd of January at Ibrox, where, let's be honest, Celtic were battered. Absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
And you wondered, was there a lack of leadership on the pitch?
I've never seen so many players have an off game in one team. I would give Carter Vickers the only pass marks. And that's out the whole team.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, Callum was way off his game.
Yeah.
Whether that's because that we call him Raskin was right tight with him and Callum didn't like it. But you've got to get away from that. Hattati kept giving the ball away.
Well, I think that was a big thing.
That word character, though, that you just didn't see an awful lot of it. And we're talking about.
To be fair, I'm a wee bit loath to go with that because that team's shown fantastic. As I say,
I mean what I mean specifically on the day.
But that's what I'm saying, on that particular day. And we've been there. We went 1-0 up and get beat 5, Mark, I remember.
You know, because I get took to hospital. That was up to
but you know,
1-0 when I went to play.
Sometimes it doesn't matter.
And you were also you were playing at an Ibrox that had an entire Broomlow and then the Celtic supporters behind you as well.
But I played there once when we never had any supporters. It was the first time ever, if you remember.
Was that John Collins' free kick?
John Collins' free kick, and we absolutely gave them a doing. But they got a deflected goal, Mikhailichenko free kick, hit the shoulder in the wall. It went out the net and it drew 1-1. But we gave them an absolute doing that day. But I've been there, and no matter what, I mean, that 5-1 game, I mean, God rest him, Ray Wilkins volleyed one in. You know, I mean, it was, some of them were world-class goals, you know, and I'm talking about top players.
By the way, that it was 5-1 with quite a long, but there's still 20 odd minutes to go.
It's funny, Mac and that, you remember you said to me after, we played quite well. I'm thinking, everybody's saying that, but we could beat 5. How can you play well? How can you get... And we played quite well, but everything Rangers done went into the back of it. Sometimes that happens, and I could see that the other day there. How can Raskin get a header in the box?
Yeah, I know.
You know, Maida lets him go, but it should never happen. The smallest guy on the pitch. These small details are massive. As I say, passing the ball into the middle of the pitch when it wasn't on. You know, it was a wee bit like Dortmund. We just let the game go away. There was no way putting the plug in, really, and saying, right, stop. And sometimes that's maybe a talk of leadership, and I think that's a wee bit more difficult now.
Not even leadership, but me and myself, if I pass the ball astray, I'm annoyed at myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see these boys getting annoyed. It's, you know,
I think
I'm
the
maybe
boys-
inside. I don't know the boys.
I think
so
the boys are
might be wrong
different.
in
I mean,
saying that,
I've been
'cause
every
then
game.
the next game they're outstanding.
Exactly.
And they're fighting for everything, and I'm going, why was that not there last week?
Yeah.
Because I think when you put a Celtic jersey on, as soon as you bring that jersey on, you've got to fight every game. It doesn't matter who you play against.
Well, I was doing it
don't care
after
what
the match,
anyone
and people
says.
saying, people Celtic turned up thinking it was over. There's absolutely no doubt that. I don't care. You
a
know,
bad game for
we
everyone.
just don't turn up. You play Rangers, it counts all the time. It doesn't matter when it is. And we've all been there, and we know what it's like when you get 1,000. Even though you go back and win your next few games, do you play Rangers again and beat Rangers again?
That's
That
terrible.
sits in
That's
your
it.
stomach, you know, and you have to win the games leading up to that, but that one doesn't go amiss, that's for sure.
We like a trivia, and letting me be frank, don't we? So that game you're talking about, John Collins' free kick with no Celtic supporters, remember the interesting fact about that goal?
First one with Predator boots on.
That's exactly it.
Don't tell me about it because he kept pointing to it, you know. And John's told us off the cuff.
And done 100 helps.
I think it was the first, was it maybe the first in British football?
It was because we were all talking at the end on the ball and we gave him some stick. We used to
Bad, it's a bad name. You can't call that now. Imagine calling your boots the Predators now.
Aye, exactly. My boots have been cancelled.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But in that
He's a
particular
Predator.
time,
What?
typical football teammates, we were giving him dogs abuse.
Oh, blah.
We came along with, you know, as if it was it alligator skin or something like that.
No,
So you better-
me and Paul tried him. It was Patrick, alligator skin.
That's right, you said different ones. We're all different ones at the
Terrible.
time.
Aye.
Big
They
was
were all
Craig Johnson next
football.
Liverpool.
That's right.
boy.
He
done
developed
Predator.
And
them.
that's who brought them out. That's who done it. And then all of a sudden John scored, and obviously he's pointing at it. And that was Adidas happy birthday for John for the rest of his days.
He was a wonderful player, wasn't he?
Yeah, done terrific. Was
Doesn't
it?
matter what boots he done.
No, he
was a
done it
good player.
fantastically well.
So we're going back and talk about West Ham a wee bit. Obviously, as we're recording this, we're not live. So as things stand, we reckon Potter's in and Lopetegui's
What
out.
I've heard,
Not official.
yes.
It's not official, but that's certainly the way things were heading this afternoon.
Well, this afternoon we'll know more about it because I get told it's the last training session of the new manager, but we've heard that before.
Yeah,
It's a terrible way to do
I was
things.
going to say that.
It's a
I was going
terrible
to say,
way to do things.
I've been in that position myself. I'd hate to think, you know, that I'm getting into training and everybody else in the world knows.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, Frank will tell you down there, when the story comes out about West Ham and being so
Everyone.
strong, you can guarantee because 90% of them are all West Ham supporters, the press guys.
Yeah.
But it's the wrong way to treat a manager that's already in situ. There's no doubt in my mind of that. And Graham Potter, I mean, as I said, when Ange left here, I said there was two guys you would go for. Brendan, try and get Brendan back first, and Graham Potter, because he plays a brand of football, and I know Graham for a long time. His team's trying to play, you know. But the thing at West Ham is you've got to play that way, but you have to win as well. I mean, me personally, I don't think you should get rid of David Moyes. That's me personally. I know David and whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But the success is, it depends what you want to do now. What do West Ham want to do now? You know, I remember Lopetegui played a midfield three the other day there, and it was like three more defensive players. And if David Moyes would have picked the same three, he'd have been crucified. But they won. I think it was against Wolves, wasn't it? Back at
The
the one.
problem was he's came in and he hasn't changed. The fans, listen, I know the fans love David, but sometimes they think, with the players that West Ham's got, sometimes you've got to let them go, but especially when you're not playing the top teams.
Yeah.
You've got to go, let's go on the front foot rather than sit and hit the counter because, you know.
But do you know
that's
his
what
teams?
it was
Do you not
nothing
think?
to do with
But do you not think his
Moyes.
team's evolved in the last period? It was
For
that last
somebody
period.
that's, you know, David would, and this gives him Lopetegui, his defence is awful, I think.
Well, that's what I think.
And I'm thinking, why
you've
don't
got
we
to
have good
recognise.
defenders?
Well, that's what I was going to say. From middle to front, I think West Ham
yeah.
under Bowen and Bowen and all these guys
course.
have been as exciting. You've seen under David and that as well.
Oh, great.
I thought defensively they
Terrible.
were always a little bit suspect, and I don't know because David's not stupid. He had a fantastic success at Everton as well, but he knows that, hey, I'm able to protect him at times. But he was playing a lot more attackers. And sometimes to get that balance, especially in the Premier League, is so difficult. You know, with the money and the finance that you have.
I know, but he's listen, I would put, if I was a gambling man, I'd put money on him going to Everton for a start in the next season.
Yeah, of course.
They love him down there.
Yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
love him.
And rightly so.
A new stadium.
Where
Put
would
money on it.
yeah.
Where
For him, see.
where should West Ham finish in the league season? So,
This season, anywhere in the Premier League.
if every team in English Premier League played to their full potential, you know, where should West Ham
In
be?
the top 10 every time.
The top
Every
10.
time, every time.
So no top
for
6.
Europe, fighting for Europe.
I think it's difficult
I think it'd be
because-
fine for Europe because that many teams.
But if you're talking about some people are spending 100 million on a player,
Aye.
one player,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's a difference.
So you've got that wee kind of... You've got that wee pocket,
Exactly.
you've got that wee pocket of teams in between the top...
I'd be dead. I'd be.
Thank God.
If you take the big six, I mean, whatever you want to call them, and then you've got the top 10, so there's a wee kind of pocket of clubs I'm kind of thinking Villa, West Ham, maybe Everton, whatever, that should always be there.
Yeah.
And that's so if West Ham were to finish 8th or 9th and have a decent cup run, would the fans should be reasonably happy with that?
Yes,
The
because I
football fans
think
never
that if they're in there often enough,
Aye.
they would end up in the top 5. It's now and again.
David
And then they would go back to 10. Exactly, and then they'd go back
And I
to
think
10 again.
Yeah, aye.
You know, the biggest problem is, I feel that the change for that, having so many teams in Champions Leagues and whatever in Europe, dilutes it a little bit, because you had to fight like mad to get in the top 2 to qualify for Europe.
Yeah.
And that was only to get... One would go to...
5, innit?
But one would be to try and get in the Cup Winners' Cup at that particular time, if you remember. Because you would think, if the team that win the league win the Cup,
Then you get...
we can get to Europe.
get in.
Now you're talking about 8 to 10 teams can get in,
I know.
because there's that many Europe.
But
And that's
the
taking a wee
Conference
bit,
League
a little bit away from it. And the problem is, a lot of them don't want to be involved in it, because the Thursday night means you're always playing catch up.
I don't get it. I mean, you're fighting all season to get into Europe.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they complain.
I think the
And I'm
biggest problem
thinking,
is, Mac, is, but
why?
I think the biggest problem is, for me, I would try and adjust it on Tuesday, Wednesday for everything. I don't know what television's going to dictate, but I definitely think the Thursday, and so say you're in a relegation battle or to win the league battle after the next season, all of a sudden you're playing the Sunday and the team you're playing against is already playing the Saturday. There's an extra pressure definitely comes on, and there is an advantage. Some teams can handle it, some teams, and it's not necessarily the players on the pitch. The supporters know you've already lost a game, or the team's already lost a game, there's a pressure on. You'll find it similar here. The Celtic always been in the Champions League and Rangers played on the Thursday. Celtic have played first. When I was here with Tony, I played one Saturday in the 10 months we were here. Every game was on a Sunday, because we were in not the conference at that time, it was the UEFA.
Europa League.
Europa League.
Yeah.
So everyone was a Thursday, 6 games, and they were all on the Thursday. So you're fighting Rangers, all of a sudden, Rangers winning the Saturday, so it's 26 points. Right, okay, we bring it back to 3. Following week again, it's back to 6 points again. So there was constant that pressure that you can't afford to drop a point, and it makes a difference when there's 10 minutes to go, and it's 0-0. That's when the difference you feel. Not to the start of the game, but when there's 10 minutes to go, there's an added pressure. You know you have to score, the players know they have to score. And sometimes it doesn't work, and that's when it becomes a disadvantage.
I also remember, sorry, very quickly, I was talking about that team, Tommy Burns' team in sort of 95, 96, and there was a lot of again, I think it was Cup Winners' Cup a lot that season too. But there wasn't Sunday games. A lot of the time it was maybe Thursday, Saturday too. And you always looked at that team and thought they're playing really well, but they just ran out of gas.
Do you think so?
Really started to run out of gas.
I don't get that.
We preferred to play and train.
We never trained. We done it even in West Ham when it was the 86 season. We should have won the league. Last game of the season I went to, we played Saturday, Monday, Wednesday for about 2 months.
A couple of players.
You've
got a couple of subs, sorry.
A couple of subs. I mean, we only had 14, 15 in the squad.
Aye.
And we had to play Saturday, Monday and Wednesday.
What would the sports scientists say about that?
Because of the but see now, we trained in this pre-season we done was horrendous. But no, I don't think there was anyone failing us when we were at Celtic. Especially at Celtic.
I always say that, Mac, because we had an intensity training that it was unbelievable. It didn't matter. We played on the Saturday. You'd maybe get the Sunday off, predominantly, the Sunday off. But the Monday, you would train like beasts again. There was no 2-day rest. Whether you had a game on the Wednesday or not, sometimes on Monday was the hardest. But every day for us was a hard day. Because, like I said, we never had a big squad. But there was an intensity. And the manager never liked to say, right, whoever the 2 subs were, plus 4 others that weren't stripped or whatever, he didn't like them to train their own. So everybody that played, everybody done the same training. Everybody played. You know, and we worked really, really hard. I mean, we used to come off of training. It was bizarre. You look back now, Mac will laugh as well. You lose £8 in training every day. So you go up to Barrowfield, you run up to Barrowfield, you come back.
Monday with a bin bag on.
With the bin bags not on, but you'd be shaking when you come down with loads of things. But you didn't realise it was dehydration. But Big Billy and that and Davey and that wouldn't allow you to drink water.
No.
You know, well, if I see one of you drinking that, you'll be running again.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. That was the way it was then.
What was their thinking at the time? Yeah,
Well, we didn't know any different.
Yeah.
We didn't know any different.
Yeah.
You never really seen players that
and
said.
now they're thinking just like you're taking too much water on board. It's going to
Danny,
affect you.
every day trained
He
with
went to
like
me
a
to drink a
Julen.
lot of water because he knew what else I would drink.
But Danny, you used to hear Danny coming to close you because he was rustling.
I know.
Because he had a
bin
bin bag on,
Aye.
bit of wet jacket, and he was the strongest, fittest player
course he was.
he'd ever seen. You know, really powerful. But they worked in a certain way, set-ups, press-ups, everything, pull-ups. They thought that was a full body makeover for us. We'd done that. You worked extremely hard every day.
Didn't want to get left of the team.
Be doing long runs for the
didn't want
warm-up,
to
Mac,
get left out. Warm-up was
but the warm-up
incredible.
was sometimes incredible, you know, but this was every day. Then you'd be doing the sprints, the doggies, that was every day guaranteed. Then you do your training, which always was intense. The ball was never allowed to be out of play because there was always a ball sitting around the pitch, you know. And the ball, you were on the ball quickly.
I loved that.
That's what I'm saying, and we loved it, you know. But it's a different, probably, type of fitness. But nobody'd outrun us.
No,
And you've got to remember now, see when players say about a striker, I'm talking about Mac here. Mac was saying, getting 10 off after 60 minutes now.
I'd be like,
But
what?
people like that, what?
No chance.
And I'm looking at strikers now, got a lot of criticism, say, oh, he's not scored in 6 games or something. And I look at it and I think, I look at the amount of time
Minutes,
amount of minutes he's been on the pitch. All of a sudden it takes it down to 3 games.
Yeah.
So there's a complete difference. Of
course there is.
But the pressure's is slightly different.
The number of subs too, so the chances of staying on the pitch for 90 minutes.
But what I'm saying is the pressure becomes, because imagine there's a difference between Mac has no scored in 3 to Mac has no scored in 6.
Yeah.
I could imagine for a centre forward because they want to be on the pitch. And when they say defenders get their most tired is late in the game, when these are guys are always living on it, and they're the moments when they score. And I always think that I wouldn't like that as a player. And we always thought if you were let out, we know it's slightly different now because of the changes of 5. I mean, if in our day, if they'd have changed 5 players, the manager would be sacked the next day, think, well, you've picked the wrong team. But we know that's there. But we thought it was only going to be there for COVID. But it obviously has continued on.
In.
And it's a
It's
problem.
sports, Ryan, to say, sorry, more bad
Goalkeeper of Aberdeen taking cramp against Celtic in the cup fight. A goalkeeper?
Aye.
I've never known a goalkeeper to take cramp.
Don't move.
No, but you understand what I'm saying? But it cost, for me, it cost Aberdeen because Aberdeen played well that day. But it stopped his player going up to take the penalty. So the boy was taking a little bit longer to go up because the keeper's getting treatment. What does he do? He misses a penalty. And it was because the keeper had cramp. And I'm thinking, we'd have been frowned upon in the days. But it's difficult for the players. And listen, there's a big place for sports science, I understand, to give the manager the knowledge and say, listen, you're organising the team. Mac is, by the way, he's been played in X, Y, and Z amount of games.
I was talking to somebody, they say they've got these colour zones, you know, he's in the red or he's in the yellow. Can you imagine somebody coming out in the dressing room, we were playing and saying, no, you're not playing because you're in the red zone. You can put in the bath and lock the door, he's ready to get out. Get lost. I mean, there's no way.
And it is.
I get took off. I hated that I was getting took off because, not to do with fitness, it was because I wasn't playing well. It very seldom happened, but you know what I mean.
There was only one player.
Or players, not me, but anyone in the team, when they never played, it's because they get dropped.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It wasn't this rotation.
And you felt embarrassed.
So
even getting 10 off, you'd have felt embarrassed, you know what I mean? But there was only one player, was Andy Tom. Andy Tom used to love it. Andy Tom used to run by TB like that, as if to say it 60 minutes.
That's interesting you should say that.
But Joe get put on and get took off.
I remember that.
Gaffer put the wrong player, he's put the wrong players on. So he took him off, Joe was...
I don't want to get sued by Andy Tom, but I remember hearing as well that there's maybe a wee bit of hypochondria. You know, he would kind of sometimes...
To be fair.
I maybe shouldn't be playing today, have a sniffle.
Obviously, I'm going to say this. He could have been world class. And I mean world class. He had unbelievable legs, quick as lightning, hit the ball like a bomb, good in the air, and get by people as if they weren't there. I mean, but I always felt the main ingredient was a missing. Is that because we used to come in the morning? We finally got a wee bit of a gym. I used to get in early in the morning. Then I'd be sitting in my place ready for the boys, and that come in, Mac would come in just laughing as usual. And he'd come in and open the door and say, "Fuck up, Granty." Because as soon as he opened the door, I said, "What's the matter with you this morning?" I twist the eyebrows. You know what I mean? So they used to look at me all the time.
It was always like, there was that sort of 60 minutes or 70 minutes.
That was enough.
Andy Tom was coming off.
That was the foreigners coming in, they were brilliant. When the foreigners started coming in, I was telling you about the boy Dub, when I went back to Celtic. Dubček, brilliant. And poor Anton Rogan, he thought Anton's name was for fuck's sake, Anton.
You're a bad
But the
man.
sad thing is,
Everyone shouts, for fuck's sake, guys.
the sad thing is, that's going to fly on TikTok.
Oh, it's all right.
Because if that were the first time people heard that.
He laughs at it. He laughs at it.
Right, so I want to come on to talk about the 88 team compared to the current team, but I want a wee kind of serious matter first. There's a wee bit of a spat between Brendan and the Celtic support after the St Mirren game. And obviously, it was a wee bit critical of them singing about Kieran Tierney, which he said was disrespectful to Greg Taylor, who was on the pitch at the time. But he was also having a wee go at folk mumping and moaning about the ball getting passed back. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a bit of an entitlement about the Celtic support at the moment who have just been served trophy after trophy after trophy? We're sitting in the company of a guy who was at Parkhead from between 1989 and 1995.
I was here in 91 and 93, wasn't I? So, I mean, I came back.
Can you understand maybe both sides of that particular?
Yeah, because I think, me personally, I think it's been blown out of all proportion in some respects. I'm not the Greg one, because listen, I used to get midfielders' names shouted all the time when I was playing, so that's part of life in football, you know, and you've got to take the criticism that goes with it, unfortunately. But I think there was a couple of situations at the weekend which I heard, which I understand the supporters' point of it, because, and it's difficult because I've been in the managers and the game looks completely different to you at times when you're looking across. And there was a couple of mumblings and I can remember them clearly. It was one guy, guys in my head, had a lot of space to get into. Yeah. I can't remember who it was. It was one of the midfielders. It wasn't Greg. It was one of the midfielders who were on the pass. And he's looked, and Diza has made the run. And he was on. And he's just tore the boy out 5 minutes prior, you know. And they've not given it. They've turned back out and played it back. I can remember that clearly. And that is different because that is... Anybody would do that. We would do that as players. We would moan and say, pass it to him. He just tore him apart. It's like me, sometimes I look at it and think, Jeffrey has been booked. Give Nicholas Kuhn the ball down his throat. Go on, take him on. He's already been booked.
But where that stopped now?
We were saying that was part of us. We'd have been saying, just give him the ball.
Get him off.
Just give him the ball.
So that scenario you explained, the fans are probably justified in thinking that was an opportunity.
Yes.
Whereas when Brendan Rodgers was getting a wee bit annoyed with support, he was saying that what they don't understand is there's certain occasions where you have to
100%. And they've been brilliant at that. I think Leipzig,
from a dugout,
I think, remember Leipzig game, I thought it was the most controlled we were in the respect to keeping the ball and getting back. Because sometimes we've went to try and score that, as Celtic's always expected to do. All of a sudden they kept the ball, they went back, they started, and Leipzig had to chase. But what they'd done really well, they moved it quick. So when Leipzig put them under pressure, they moved it by them and created other chances. That is different. That one at the weekend, but the Dyson one, I can remember clear. You know, the fans having a wee bit. It wasn't at the team. It was at that. Hey, that's an opportunity, a chance.
But the thing happened with Kyogo. I mean, I remember Brendan talking, and they were saying, but Kyogo no scoring and all a while back, and he's not getting found, and he said, no, it's no Kyogo's. Stop making runs. We're not finding him. Because some of the runs that he was making, but Brendan's identified that, and all of a sudden he's going, look, you've got, and all of a sudden now I'm going, Callum's no doing his usual. This was a while back, and then all of a sudden he's been making the passes, and no understand. I just think if you make a pass and it gets cut out, so what?
Look at the chance.
But you've got to try it.
Yeah, well,
and all of a sudden Callum's shooting out.
Well, there's the prime. The prime one was against Rangers. Okay, we lost it 3-0, didn't play particularly well on the day. The ball, but Bernardo for Kyogo, he's offside. But that's the runs he makes.
Yeah, of course he does.
But it's a midfielder making the forward pass. So there's an opportunity that's come out of that. So when you give Kyogo the opportunities, he'll take them. You know, or he'll make the keeper work, or he'll miss his chance. That's football as a striker.
But
you have to give an opportunity to go forward. And I agree with Brendan when it's on to time to keep the ball and you've got to keep it. You start 100%. But the one on Saturday, I can remember clearly, he just tore the backside out of the boy. And you're saying, go on, give him it again. And it's turned back. And as I say, I'm giving Brendan the benefit of the doubt here because where you are in the dugout, because you're so low and it's over the far side, you maybe not see that space. And it does sound as if it's a criticism for keeping the ball. But that opportunity was on. And I don't think that'll ever change with Celtic supporters.
But the as far as the singing about Kieran Tierney.
Listen,
so you've got your thoughts on this.
Listen, no disrespect to Greg, he's absolutely, fans love him. He gives 100%, 110% every single game. But there's no comparison between him and Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney, when he's fit, he's world class. If you're in football and somebody comes in better than you, you're out. That's just the nature of the beast. It's the same as managers. If you don't do your job, you're out. Now, if you're playing, and Greg could play to his 100 and he'll know match the levels of Kieran Tierney, and it's unfortunate. And I don't mean any disrespect when I say that.
Yeah.
Greg's just knowing Kieran's level.
But it could, listen, it could
and
well
if
be
we
that-
could get him back, I will be singing for the rooftop because it's improving the team.
Could
And
well
that's
be
no
this.
disrespect to Greg.
If he's coming back at all, it may well be the summer. In which case, Brendan Rodgers is thinking, well, I need to keep Greg Taylor between now and then anyway, you know, and I want a player that, you know, is happy and is in working environment. And so a few things going
I
through
think
his
what
head.
he's saying is, what Brendan says was, I want to keep Greg because he'll get games.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Alistair Johnson. I think he's different class. But
Mark,
Tony
if
comes
people-
in, Ralston comes in, and he gets a lot of game time. And Greg would get a lot if Kieran
Yeah,
was there.
of course,
What you're,
So they-
what you're
you know,
also
I
forgetting as
think-
well, Greg can play. Kieran can play left centre back and can step out. You can change a system. Because for me, he's Scotland's best left-sided centre back and best left back.
Aye.
Scotland's, without a shadow of doubt. There's no question. You know,
I think so as well.
For me, Greg Taylor's been excellent.
Yeah.
I think he's played the position and the roles completely changed as a left back. That's completely changed because you're playing in that midfield. And I think he does as good as anybody. And he's had forward passes, created chances, and he's been excellent at it. I agree with Mac in the respect that a fit Kieran Tierney, and a Kieran Tierney that was at the levels he was at when he was at Celtic.
I've seen him come.
That's what I'm saying. And when he plays at international football, he's always the one you feel as if it's going to change. And Greg knows that.
Yeah.
But Greg knows that as well. But it doesn't mean Greg's been playing poorly in any shape or form. For me personally, I think he's been remarkable in that position.
Yeah.
He's done exceptional.
He will get games.
But maybe there's a question mark on, is he going to sign his new contract? And maybe that's what Greg's saying. Well, hold on a minute. I want to continue to be the number one, as in such. So, as I'm saying, as Kieran's coming, Gaffer, sorry, I'll be here at the end of the season. Hopefully that's what we're going to do, and we're going to win the treble, all these things. And fair play to him. Because I know the kid. I went to Toulon with him, with Scotland under 20 level.
Would he get a better team in Celtic, Greg?
No, but you know what I'm saying, Mac? But Greg maybe say, I want to continue to play. And you know yourself.
You'll get minimum 25 games a year.
But he's only a young man. I agree. But he's still a young man.
A very good point a minute ago as well. We know that you know Kieran Tierney picks up a lot of injuries, right? That's you know that's accepted. If as he gets older, he maybe does play that sort of central defensive role a wee bit more.
He played 35 games last year.
Aye. But would
40 the year before.
Yeah.
So he's not that injury prone.
Aye, but if he was to play that role, what that to Liam Scales, your big pal.
But what I'm saying is, there's a combination. You can play people anywhere. For me, Greg's been outstanding. I mean, outstanding. As I say, right up there with the best of them in consistent performances. There is absolutely no doubt of that. And playing the role, as I say, is completely different because nowadays it was overlapped
It's a role
fullback.
that's changed.
Wasn't it? It's an overlapping fullback, on you go. And I still think there's a place for that. I really do.
It's a role.
That's where Kieran's different from Greg.
The biggest problem
I think Kieran still likes the overlap more than that extra midfield player. So that maybe be slightly something maybe Brendan's want to adjust.
He's a better defender. That's match. When Greg goes and he bombs, and listen, if I was playing up front and he can bomb it by me, I'd be going, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and that's
your job.
But that's a forwards instinct for him because he was a left winger.
I know.
I think he was a left.
And he's doing that. He's great going forward.
Yeah,
There's no complaint. But I just think, you know, the one thing about Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson, they're defenders first.
Yeah, but Kieran's
Do you know what I mean?
Kieran's better
Kieran's better than Andy
as a
Robertson.
better defender.
Listen, he's the best left back I've seen. Honestly, that's what I think.
Yeah.
And if he comes back and he's fit, it doesn't matter, you know. No disrespect to Greg, but you've got it. It's like me coming in and you know, Henry coming and me going, I want to play. You go, well, you can play after he gets injured.
No,
do you know what I'm talking
listen,
about?
we're going to come on to something
you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, remember, they used to say, we used to laugh. When somebody came in your position, we used to shake their hand and say, oh, the best in the reserves. You know?
Because you're
But you were saying as if you only need to fight for your life
you need to fight
to try and
for
get played.
Well, which is kind of brings us on to, we're half an hour in and we haven't really talked too much about Centenary season. I want to talk about that team quite a bit. And a wee reminder again to everybody, please hit the subscribe button.
Press that button.
It's free.
It's free. It's free. Even I can do it.
Even Frank can do it. Aye.
Got to be easy.
Once I've turned your
It must
computer
be
on.
free then.
Aye. When the message comes in again, switch the computer on. Yeah.
Aye. But yeah, but she's got to have to look at your YouTube history for that.
I've got it. I know how to clear it.
Right. Anyway, so
Move on.
So 1988, and there's always a kind of discussion about the Seville team versus the Lisbon Lions and all that. Who would get into that team, who would get into that team. I was thinking recently about the Centenary season and who from the Centenary season might Getting to the current Celtic team, but more importantly, who from the current Celtic team could fight their way in to your team in '88? Many of them. Any obvious positions?
Central midfield, Mike, I'll probably say about central mid. No, but as I say, slightly different shape we had.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Because I think, was there anybody better than Billy Stark at doing what Billy Stark did? And I think that's, well, there's a fine line where people
Who would this
talk about...
comparison be, do you think, the kind of modern... I'm thinking maybe even a kind of Matt Riley, who's not...
Matt Riley,
Yeah.
Bernardo in the respect... Billy had a great understanding of the game.
Bader was quite good at that. He was he came in at the back
But
post.
it was unbelievable. Billy was great. It was picking up situations. It was going to arise. You know, so he knew where the ball was going to drop. He knew where the ball was going to be if it was coming in the box. He'd arrive in there. We used to call him the ghost and things like that. But he never played as a right winger. When I started, it was Davy Provan, who was a fantastic, unbelievable right winger. You know, I don't think he would get the credit for the player he was. He was an unbelievable right winger. Then you had the wee Joes, and they're different from Billy. And that's what we're saying. Now we're playing a front three, slightly different. Character-wise, every one of them could play. The Centenary team, everyone could play in the team. You know, character-wise. But it comes down to abilities and that. It depends. Shapes and that are slightly different. You know, because I look round about it. As I say, I was fortunate enough to play the strikers I did. Macca, Brian McClare, Charlie Nicholas, Mo Johnston, you name them, Alan McInally, Andy Walkers, Picanio, Van Hooijdonk, you name them all. And I'd say Macca for me was the most complete, because I always think when I liked I played against him, because he could score goals, was good in the air, could run, either foot, and you knew you were in a game playing against him. And as a midfield player, you knew he just looked and you just either try and play it down the side for him to go or get it wide to your wide player, knowing that Macca was going to be between the sticks. And the centre halves didn't like playing against, no matter where big, whatever, they didn't like playing against him. And I just thought he had a mixture of all the players. Brian McClare was unbelievable goal scorer, Mo Johnson, Charlie was different type technician in the respect to that. But Picanio probably didn't play more as a centre forward, he was more of a floater. Big Van Hooijdonk was unbelievable power. You know, he's striking dead balls and whatever. You know, Andy Walker doesn't get the credit really he deserves as a striker. A really top striker. You know. So I was very fortunate all through the difficult times to be playing with some unbelievable players.
You've just reeled off
Frank McGarvey, you know, the dressed him, you know, so Frank, you know.
But as we said earlier on, there probably wasn't a weak link in that Centenary team, because we
had good players to bring on as well. We had good players, with the midfield especially, with Grant, Paul, Grant got injured, you know, Roy would come into midfield, so it was the like for like, because Roy could put a foot in. Well, Grant, I mean, everyone says, Grant done a job, you've done a wonderful job. I mean, that's, people couldn't do what you done in midfield.
It was difficult then,
because you let Paul go and get the credit, get the headlines.
It was different. We played with two wingers predominantly right on the touchline, two centre forwards who didn't really drop in. Macca would sort of play on the edge yet, but wasn't he told to drop in and be an extra midfield player? Paul would go and create whatever, and I'd be the one. I'd be the right back, I'd be the left back, I'd be the outside right, I'd be the left back. Because I'd manoeuvre wherever the ball was to, if anybody was caught out. And if I got the ball, my secret was, don't miss any of the front five. Get the ball and just go bang, there you go. It's a 5 yard, 10 yard.
So that would be Billy starting the right, Tam Burns on the left?
Me and Paul in the middle, Mac and Andy up front.
But there was a wee bit of rotation, because Matt McGee played quite a lot of games.
Only if they were injured, maybe they'd have been injured or something like that, you know. Predominantly, you know, we had an unbelievable mix. You know, you had wee Joe and that would drop in and out, you know, sort of, because Starkey.
The thing is, I played 4 years in midfield for St Mirren, so I could drop into midfield anytime, leave Andy up, and it confused the hell out of the defenders.
But that's what I'm saying, especially in their days, because people, there was no three. That's only teams we played against.
They want to be that tight.
That's only teams we played against Mac.
When I dropped off,
we played 5 in the middle of the pitch at Celtic Park every week.
I know.
So we used to go to Europe, we'd play people out in the touchline. And I used to think, me and Paul used to think there was 5v2 in the middle of the pitch. Because we're still playing with 2 wingers out there and 2 centre forwards. So all of a sudden it just became a natural progression for Macca, because he was a bit like Wayne Rooney in the respect to that. He was the first striker who could know that role. So usually when you said somebody was going to be a number 10, they weren't really a midfield player, they were really a striker, they weren't a goal threat. He was anything, he was complete opposite. Like Rooney had a desire to score goals, so there was a centre forward head first, but they knew that area to pick up. you know, in the midfield. So always gave us a pass beyond the opposition. And you've got to remember, as I spoke about earlier, it was different then, because when we stopped opposition playing out, the goalie just got the ball and you went boom.
I know.
So we had to win that off our own defenders, turn, and then be playing. You know, but as soon as our keeper got it, our full back went bang.
Sometimes you don't mind that, the keeper kicking it. See now, you hardly see anyone. I mean, against Celtic a couple of times, the keeper's just launched it, and that's when we've had trouble.
Well, absolutely.
And I'm going, you know, everyone plans to play it out. Everyone thinks, you know,
I suppose
the pep thing.
Absolutely.
But, you know,
but if a team, I'm thinking about Celtic away from home in Europe at the moment, sort of predominantly, that playing the ball out from the back, one touch or whatever you want to call it, under proper pressure and getting good at it. That's what they're trying to establish.
That's what they've done against Leipzig. But let me give you another scenario. We're under pressure. Kyogo's in the halfway line. You launch that. Nobody beating him with his pace.
Yeah.
No, even if he runs into corner and gets hold of it, he's turning them and he's turning the team.
Well, I think the game at Ibrox.
No, I'm not talking about all the time. But
remember the game at Ibrox was going did.
Halfway line.
Remember the Rangers keeper kicked it. We won it. Was it Matarelli wins the header, heads it right over Golston, and Kyogo goes in, and then he actually gets you the goal.
He lives on the shoulder.
There's still a place for it. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind for that. That you have to sometimes play the circumstances. I felt, you go back to the Rangers game, the 3-0 game, I thought Maeda starts lightning. He's run away for the fullback Yilmaz twice. One of the times he puts a cross in, and the other one he's left him with 10 yards. But they turned the pass down. And I'm thinking, we'd have been told, listen, people say do it for the first 5-10 minutes. See if it's working. Keep it doing. Keep doing it. Don't turn it down.
No,
why put it into trouble if that's on? Why did you do that? You know, we'd have been asked that question, and we weren't really.
I love games letting people one-on-one. That's that. Anyone, any winger, or even me, I got one-on-one. I'm going for it. I don't know, pass the back. Well, I'm good for it.
We were always told first look has got to be there. Forward. Your first pass has got to be there. For day one, since the day that I would join Celtic at 10, my first look had to be there as a midfield player. Anywhere else, see if that's not on. Is that on? Or is that on? If it's not, okay, maybe play it there. And if you see your body position, you shouldn't really be passing back. Because see when you receive it, that means we've passed it by them. So you should be going that way again. We were all, that was our coaching.
That was your coaching,
It wasn't anything else.
Can I ask you, present company excluded, who would you have said was the most gifted footballer you've ever played with?
Paul. I played along with Paul. I thought Paul was unbelievable. Danny McGrain was my hero. I thought Danny was world class. And I use that lightly. But Danny could play left back and right back the same way. He was a proper right back, proper defender who could attack. But he knew he had to be a defender first. And he knew that. So there's still a place for people to be a proper defender. The ball was in opposite side. Danny was always on the cover. I always remember when Big Packy or Big Peter Latchford used to come for a cross, Danny'd be underneath the wide player as if, right, I'm defending it if you drop it. But see, as soon as you catch it, I'm out there. He was away. You know. So he was a proper defender first, but a proper attacker. For me, he was world class.
I remember a Dukla Pumpkinson dinner, and they were saying the guys introducing, he says, and we've got Danny McGrain here, probably the best right back in the world, and Danny went, probably.
And he's 100% right. I was going to say,
just to me,
I'm surprised you never say it, and left. You know what I mean? But he was,
great sense of humour.
Paul was an unbelievable midfield player. You know, Mac, I'll tell you, couldn't run from here to there as in sharpness, but the ball at his feet, it was like a ballerina in the respect to how quick his feet were. You know, and doing any sprints or that, Mac, I'll tell you, he really struggled, you know, doing any wee short stuff or anything like that. But with the ball in a tight area, he could pivot really, really quickly, you know.
It was simply easy. They two of them as well. They just gave me the ball, and if they gave me the ball at my feet, I knew the defender wasn't on me. So I could turn and run. And if it was on me, Paul done that wee thing with his finger, and I just used to spin and just put it on.
But what you were good at, Mackie, was, but even then, for us as picking up as midfielders, Mackie would know he could come into that area. But what he'd done was, all of a sudden, if he knew there was offside, obviously he would make an angle to the left so he could shove the ball up in between it. That's where we knew we would with two passes on, well, three passes with Mackie, because he'd spin, he'd make that angle off, you'd know he could hit him on an angle, or he would drop in. But he knew if he dropped in and got it, you know, we didn't need to tell him to turn because he was already there. But we knew this one could make the run. And Big Starkey would just, as soon as he went into Mackie that way, Starkey would go like that.
Incredible.
The TB would go like that. And they knew they were in there because Mackie was getting the ball. But as soon as Mackie gave them it, he was right in the box then. And we, Andy and that, knew that as well. So they'd always be the two of them would always be between the posts if the ball was wide. One of us would be at the edge of the box, and the two wide players, Starkey and Tommy, whatever side it was on. If it was a full-back, it was crossing it, they'd be in that sort of half and half area. The other one would be in at the back post. So we always filled the box in the respect to that, and then it came out. And I was probably the one that was a little bit deeper before there was deep midfielders. Because if anyone was cleared, then I had to...
But you were in the role of Scott Brown and Neil Lennon, probably. You were that
I be two.
You were that
and it's different then.
I know, but
I'm saying Mac with three.
You didn't venture up to...
No, I was always having that balance. I knew everybody had to be in front of me. See, if I was beyond him, I knew where Paul was.
You didn't know what to do.
No, but remember, Mac, I scored, what, 25 goals, 22, 25 goals. But I was a good runner in the box because that's what I'd done when I was younger.
Yeah.
But when I was playing with these guys, I didn't need to run that because I'd Starkey doing that, TB
You
doing
first
that.
broke into the team. I remember you scoring a couple of belters back to back. Was it Tannadice, I think?
Yeah, but I remember we got to November and I was second top goal scorer.
Aye.
You know, with 6 goals or something like that in one season. But that was off of the players you played with. So if Paul was a little bit deeper, which was few and far between, all of a sudden I knew the time to get in the box because you were playing a line with good players. You knew if you went, there was a possibility the opposition wasn't going to go with you. You know, because predominantly it was everybody else. But when I went, they were like, oh, just caught. In the respect to that. So that was fine. But I had a good understanding of that. But I had a bigger understand that I can't get by the guys. Because if that ball breaks down, people used to say to me, you going out tonight? And I'd say, are you kidding? I'm going for a sleep. I've been working for 90 minutes trying to get the ball back, you know what I mean? I know the boys were going out for a laugh, you know, I was just wanting to get back to my bed.
And you'll be going out tonight because you're going to the game, I presume, as well, which well, tomorrow morning when this comes out, we'll know the score.
We'll know the score, yeah.
But we'll probably leave it there because we're 45 minutes in.
Brilliant.
This has been an absolute education, Peter. Fantastic.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for
and hopefully some of the team of 88 will be watching it as well and maybe get some more on.
Packy's coming, and Packy says he'd come on, but you know he's like, he's with Ireland and all that.
Just don't give him a glass, maybe the wrap
maybe the next time Paul's over from Australia as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. Get him on Zoom even. Do you still speak to him?
Aye. My boys, him and Chris shared that.
Tell me to do the Zoom for us.
Him and Chris shared that. The biggest problem you've got with them is the time differences.
No, time difference. And also,
because they're on at 1 o'clock in the morning. I hear my boys speaking to young Chris.
You know me, I always come alive.
Exactly. We're just coming in.
It's always nice to have someone in the studio as well.
I know that, but Paul's not. He doesn't come over much, does he?
No, not as much as he did. Because obviously mum and dad's not here either.
And I suppose when he does come over,
you take him on the Zoom, wouldn't you?
Aye, but we're not here to sort out Paul McStay's diary. We're here to have a podcast. So, listen, Peter, thanks very much. It's a real education. Really enjoyed it. Brilliant watching you guys wander down memory lane.
It was good. It was good fun.
We will
Thank you for watching, everyone.
Thanks. We'll be back again.
Subscribe
next week with another classic guest, and keep hitting the subscribe button, and we'll see you soon. So thanks for joining us for the most recent episode of Let Me Be Frank, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care.